Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I welcome you all to this webinar on the performance management system of Zoho People. In today's webinar, you'll get a complete walkthrough of Zoho People's performance management system, how to initiate your appraisal processes, and other key features. Now, before we start the webinar, let me introduce myself. I'm Annie. I work for the Zoho People team, and I'll be your host for today's session. Also, please note that you're in the listen-only mode. If you have any questions, you can type them in the question bar that you see on your screen. I have our product experts here waiting to answer your questions and doubts in the webinar. Also, at the end of the webinar, I'll have an exclusive 10 minutes just to answer your questions and doubts. Now, let's get started with the webinar. So this is my agenda for today's session. I'll start with a quick introduction on Zoho People's performance management system. We'll have a brief discussion on the evaluation modules of Zoho People. So we'll be discussing the working principle behind this. And we'll go over to Zoho People and we'll show you how to run an appraisal cycle. And we'll also discuss the general order of processes followed in the performance management system. And we'll also take a look at some of the performance reports to give you insights on your employees' performance that we have in store in Zoho People. Now let's start. So what is Zoho People's performance management system got in store for you? So I'm highlighting some of the key features here that stand out in Zoho People. We have a wide array of evaluation metrics, in other terms, evaluation modules, using which you'll be gauging your employees' performance. You can run location-based appraisal cycles, set a variety of with a variety of applicable options. A 360-degree feedback system where everybody in the organization can give feedback to anybody in the organization. Multi-rater feedbacks where you can involve multiple managers to review a particular employee and multi-level reviewers as well. And once an appraisal process is completed, you can ask your employees to share their reviews, their feedback on the reviews and ratings they've got. And we have strong in-house integrations with the learning management system of Zoho People, the timesheets module, and the onboarding module as well. And we have a wide range, a wide list of employee performance reports that can give you direct insights and that neatly categorize your employees. So now let's start with the evaluation metrics. So I'll be explaining the key concepts behind the evaluation metrics we have. So in Zoho People, we have a total of 6 elaborate evaluation modules. So these are just measurement tools using which you'll be measuring your employees' performance. Now let us start with goals, the very first in line. So goals, as we all know this, so these are like immediate actionable items to give you the desired results that is expected of an employee. And goal setting them up is important to show your employees the right direction you want them to go. It's like guiding your employees. And also, you can encourage your employees to set up their own goals with Zoho People based on the permissions that is set up. So these are immediate actionable items like setting the direction in which you want your employees to go. So next we have skill sets. So these are like concrete skill sets that is required of an employee to do a particular job. So in other words, in simpler words, so these are concrete skill sets that you would write down in your resume. So for instance, a developer's skill set would be knowledge of their computer languages like C++, Java, etc. So these are like concrete skills that is required of an employee to do a particular job. Next, we have KRAs or key result areas. So these are goals or expectations that is associated to a particular area, the employee's area of work in terms of performance here. So based on the employee's work profile or their area of work, you can set expectations and goals for them. Next, we have competencies. So this is a combination of abilities, even knowledges, or in simpler terms, soft skills that are desirable traits. That is, these are like nice to have tendencies that you'd like your employees to possess. So unlike skill sets, these are not concrete skills, but desirable traits or required or nice to have tendencies that you would like your employees to possess. So, for instance, again, if is a support representative in your organization, a good support representative, apart from their own skill set, they are required to be very patient. They are required to possess troubleshooting skills. Such added advantages or tendencies is what we call as competencies in Zoho people. And next in line, we have feedback. I need not explain feedback to you all, but with Zoho people, you have three major types of feedback. You have peer-to-peer feedback, wherein employees of the same hierarchical pattern, the same hierarchical designation can give a feedback to each other. And 360-degree feedback that breaks the conventional method of gathering feedback. So usually the manager gives a feedback to the employees, but with 360-degree feedback, the employee can in turn give a feedback to the manager or anybody in the organization below or above the hierarchical pattern. And the normal, the usual reporting to feedback as well. So setting up a feedback is super crucial as we all know it, and it is a great hit among the millennial workforce. So yes, we have feedbacks. And finally, summaries. So these are like short notes or a questionnaire that is going to guide a manager when a change is involved. So with summaries, you need not wait for the end of the appraisal period or maybe end of the year, but it can be a consistent, a continuous process. You just need to maintain these short notes, answer a set of questions all around the year about your employees' performance. And when it is due for appraisals, you can quickly refer to them. You can attach it as part of the appraisals. So that is how summary works. So even when there is a change of manager or when any change is involved, you can still cope up with the change and your employees' performance management, the accuracy is not compromised. So we've discussed the concepts behind the 6 evaluation metrics that we have in Zoho People. So out of all the 6, you can pick the ones that are the best fit for your organization. Again, you can customize this, you can rename this. Now to put these into perspective, I have a simple example here. So we've discussed the evaluation modules, and now how do you post this along with the employees of your organization? How do you assign these to your employees? Now let's take a look for a better understanding. I have a fictional employee here and meet Rahul. He works as a travel executive of Zilka Travels, and I've added a set of sample evaluation metrics here for him. And now let's take a look. So for Rahul, who works as a travel executive, his goal is to plan and deliver itineraries to 50 clients. So an actionable and immediate item is set as a goal here in a smart way. And his KRA, which is associated to his designation, which revolves around his field of work, which is travel here, is this to get travel collaborations for the organization. So since he's associated to this particular designation, I've added this KRA for him. And his skill set, his concrete skill here would be maybe a degree in business administration. And his competency, a nice to have or a desirable trait here, since he is a travel executive, he is expected to know a lot of languages and he's expected to be polite to clients and more. So this is just a simple example. You can edit these evaluation metrics based on your requirements and you can add it based on the performance policy of your organization. So now that we've discussed the evaluation metrics, so let us go over to your Zoho People account and see how to pick the evaluation metrics for your appraisal cycle so that you can get started with your appraisals. So I've already logged into my Zoho People account here. So your performance module will be available as a service, and you can also pick your performance from the left-hand side menu here. And this will be available based on the plan that you've purchased. So under performance, I go to settings, performance modules, and this is where you'll be picking the evaluation metrics for your organization. So you can rename the evaluation metrics that we've discussed based on your requirements. And if you feel like an evaluation metric is not useful for your organization, you can simply enable or disable this right here. So let me enable goals here. So other than goals in KRAs, you can also post goals alongside KRAs for a better or for a more accurate management or calculation of your employees' performance. So you can post goals along and associate it with their field of work and have it as KRA versus goals. So we also have salary. So whenever an appraisal is over and whenever an employee has performed well, the fruit usually the process that is followed in any organization is this hike in the employee salary. So we have this available as a performance module as well. So if you'd like to enable this, you can add it too. So now we've discussed and we've selected the evaluation modules. So let me show you how to add the evaluation modules that you've selected. So if you've enabled KRA skill set and goals, you'll be able to add your own KRAs based on your organization's requirements. So this will be your space to add your very own KRAs and tag them to different designations or departments. So all your KRAs that are added will be available here. You can edit or delete them. So once these are added, you can tag your KRAs to a particular designation based on the selection that you do here from the drop-down. So it can be designation bound, department specific, or location specific, or even both designation and department. So similarly, just like tagging KRAs, you can tag your goals and your skill set information in the respective tabs here. So now that we've set up KRAs, similarly with skill sets and goals, let me walk you through a couple of general settings for you to get started with the performance management system. So under general settings, you need to set up a couple of important settings like who can access the skill set matrix. So you can have permissions here to leverage it on who can view your employees' skill set information. And also you can give view tag, even upgrade permissions whenever there is an upgrade of the skill set, whenever it is involved. And your feedback policy, if you'd like to encourage anonymous feedback, and also the feedback level, if it's going to be organization-wide, a super open feedback type, or it's going to be within your department alone. And goals access, if you like to encourage your employees to add their own goals, or you can select the role who will be adding goals, and employee review feedback. So this is a great hit among employees because once an appraisal is over and the details are published, usually in conventional processes, the employee's feedback is not considered. If they were really satisfied, if they're really happy with the ratings and reviews they've got. But with Zoho People, you can break the conventional way and you can listen to your employees on what they felt about their reviews and the ratings they've got. And if an action is to be involved, yes, you can extend the review period as well, and you can set the escalation time here for this to be extended. And also in reports, when you neatly categorize your employees, you can add your own terminologies and other key concepts that is followed in your organization here. So that's everything about the general settings. Now that we've discussed and picked up your performance modules and the general settings are set up. Let us start with adding our appraisal cycle. So let me add a sample appraisal cycle here for an understanding. So I'm going to be adding a Q2 appraisal cycle. So you can add monthly appraisal cycles or even half yearly and yearly appraisal cycles based on your requirements. And you have to select the appraisal cycle period. So this is the period within which your employee's performance will be put into consideration, or your employee's performance between this period will be measured. So for the Q2 appraisal, let me keep it for 3 months. So till June 1. So this is my appraisal cycle period, and you can describe the cycle to managers and fellow reviewers. And if you have a guideline document or a performance policy that is followed in your organization, you can add it so that all reporting managers and other administrators can adhere to this. Now, to configure the process, that is set up the process. The process period is within which your employees' performance will be processed. So in other words, the reviews and ratings of your employees will be given during the process period. So if my appraisal cycle, the entire cycle is for 3 months, my process period is going to be from the 1st of May to the last date of May. So ensure that your process period falls within your appraisal cycle period for your appraisal cycle to run successfully. And other than the evaluation modules, we also have self-appraisals. So this again is a foolproof way to listen to your employees, ask them to appraise themselves. So you have a set of questions as part of templates, and you ask your employees what they felt about their own performance, if they were satisfied, or if there are areas which needs improvement for them, and you can ask them to rate their own performance, and they'll be the best people to tell us. Again, for self-appraisals, you can set up the period within which the self-appraisals will happen, and multi-rate of feedback. So now in many organizations all around the year, project managers, they keep changing, and an employee, again, once a project is completed, they move to different managers. Now it wouldn't be fair to just consider the current project manager, and again, even when there is a change involved, it wouldn't be nice to just consider one manager's opinion about the employee. So to accommodate such cases, you can involve multiple managers as multiple raters here and ask their feedback on the employee. You can have a particular period within which your employees multi-raters will be selected, and a particular period within which the multiple raters can give their own feedback. Again, this is a form. You can customize the form based on your fields here. And the inverted type of gathering feedback here. When managers give feedback, it can be the vice versa type here as well. You can have the reportees, employees who work under your managers as default assessors as well, or you can allow your employees or the reporting managers to choose their own assessors as multiple raters here. Again, you can set the range, and if you want it to be anonymous, you can check this. And next we have review period here. So review period is within which all self-appraisals and multi-raters feedback, if they are enabled, reviewers will be reviewing this within the period. And the fruit of any appraisal cycle is the hike. So if you'd like a hike to be part of the particular appraisal cycle that you're configuring, you can enable this. You can have a hike appraiser who will be proposing, who will be allocating the hike, and the hike period within which all of these needs to be processed, and the actual hike push date within which your so this is the date on which your employees approved hike will come into effect, will come into action. And hike and approval, you can customize approvals here. And finally, normalization period. So whenever there's a process that is left out or an edit that needs to be made or a supervision that is required, you can do it in the normalization period. So now, from the evaluation modules that we've picked earlier, you can choose the ones that needs to be added as part of this appraisal cycle. So in terms of Q2 appraisals, goals are immediate, actionable, achievable items, so they can be added. Whereas for yearly appraisals, the other modules can be added. Again, this is just an ideal flow. You can have this set up based on your organization's requirements. Now to setting up the applicability. Like I mentioned earlier, you can run location-based appraisals. They can be role-specific, departments, designation-specific, even custom date fields that you have in your employee form. So if you have a custom field in your employee form, maybe recording probation date or a particular date field, yes, you can add it and set up the applicability. So only the employees who fall under the terms, the criteria that you set here will be eligible for the particular appraisal cycle. And the overall rating, you can add your categories here and you can rename them based on the terminologies that is used in your organization. And the most important part, reviewers who will be reviewing the ratings, the self-appraisals, and the multi-rater feedback that your employees have got. You can set up to any level of reviewers here. And the order is of significance here because only when the first level of reviewer is over, it will go to the second level. And the final level of reviewer will be the finalizer who can publish the results based on the setting that you set here. So it can be the reporting manager or the department head or the HR personnel. So any role that you would like to pick as the reviewer can be set up here. You will find the reviewer timeline here. And the final result is where you publish the right amount of details that you want to expose to your employees as part of their performance appraisal report. So if you want them to show your rating or their current salary, their CTC alone, or any other relevant details to be published, you can add them here. And who can publish the results? So if you want the final reviewer to do this, or the reporting manager or the admin, yes, you can enable this right here. So once the appraisal process is over, if you want to listen to your employees, their feedback, what they felt about their performance or what they felt about the entire appraisal process, you can allow your employees to share appraisal feedback. So now I've successfully added my appraisal cycle, and clicking on it, I'll get a simple summary of the order of process of my appraisal cycle. And I can also manage my reviewers and my employees. I can change a particular reviewer to an employee even while the appraisal cycle is in process. So now my appraisal cycle is done. Now let's start with the My Review page where the employees will have access to the metrics that are attached to them. So My Review acts like your personal performance dashboard, giving you information about your own KRAs, goals, or whatever metric is tagged to you. So as you see here, as a manager or an administrator, you can tag KRAs to the particular employees that you've already created and even add weightage to it. And you can comment, describe the KRA, the goals, what is expected for them as well, and skill set information. So any skill set, any employee, when they grow in your organization, you can also record growth in terms of upgrading skill set here. And the duration timeline, you get a complete history of your employee's growth in terms of skill set here. So as a HR professional, you can ensure that your employees' skill set are updated, they are of the latest information, and they'll be categorized based on the potential range here. The potential range is calculated based on the skill set level here, plus the weightage that is allotted to them. And you can define the potential rate under general settings. Next, feedback. So you do not have to wait for the appraisal period or maybe the end of the year just to appreciate somebody, just to give somebody a thumbs up. But rather with Zoho people, it can be continuous. And whenever you feel like appreciating an employee, you can select a name, give a feedback to them, a positive feedback, maybe a badge, and you can even choose this to be anonymous as well if this is allowed in your organization. Also self-appraisals. So this is basically like a questionnaire or yes or no document, and you can select the verticals using based on which you want your employees to answer your questions. So this again contributes to self-realizations, and your employees will be the best person to tell you about their own performance, where they are lagging, and more. And based on self-appraisals, as a reviewer, you can rate them based on the goals or queries that is added, and the final overall scorecard will be calculated based on this. And also multiple raters. So you can allow your employees to select their own multiple raters here. They can select the type of multi-rater, the connection, the relation. They can explain it here. And you can also enable an approval process so that you can approve the multiple raters that are selected by your employees. Or in different cases, the reporting managers can set these multiple raters on behalf of the employees. And under teammates, you get a complete view of your peers, and as a manager or an administrator, you can tag KRAs to them, have access to their skill set, their goals, give them a feedback and more. And also under a privacy view, you get a list of all your reportees for whom you are a reviewer, and also you'll get an idea of their status. So clicking on them, you'll be able to review them, give your ratings to them, select multiple raters for them, and finish your review process here under a pricey view. So finally coming on to salary hike here. So once an appraisal process is over, you can propose a salary hike as part of an appraisal cycle. So for this to happen, you need to update your salary details of your employees in the salary hike form in the first place, as I've added right now. So you can allocate a hike, the percentage, and also add the proposed hike. You can send this out for approval. As you see here, this particular one is waiting for approval. And once it is approved, the revised salary will be pushed based on the hike push date that you added as part of the appraisal cycle. So now, we started with our evaluation modules to setting up an appraisal cycle. So let us take a look at the flow in which this works. So of all the 6 evaluation metrics that we've discussed, KRAs, competencies, goals, and KRA versus goals can be added, can be posed along with appraisal cycles, whereas feedbacks and summaries, the other two, can act as guideline sources, or you can use them to record your employees' performance all around the year for a consistent and a continuous process. So these would be concrete metrics, whereas feedbacks and summaries are like guideline sources to guide managers and reviewers to give them a hint about employees' performance. So once an appraisal cycle is enabled, the very first process to follow would be the self-appraisal. So once employees complete their self-appraisals, multi-rater feedback, the period will start. So multiple raters will give their feedback, and this will go out for reviewers. So self-appraisals plus multi-rater feedback will be reviewed by the reviewers that you set based on the order that you set. So that's what we call as multi-level reviewers. And once review is over, they'll go down, collated, and they'll get collated into insightful reports. So talking about reports, let me walk you through a couple of noteworthy reports that we have in store. Let me start with the skill set matrix here. So an elaborate skill set matrix that tell you about your employees' skill set information, the ones with upgraded skill sets along with their experience. So this is very crucial when it comes to resource planning. For example, if you have a new role in place and if you are looking out for an employee who will be able to take up the new role, a challenging role, you simply need to go and take a look at this organization wide skill set chart, and you will be able to pick the right employee with the right amount of skill set that you are looking out for. Let me walk you through the performance versus potential report, a very insightful report that neatly categorizes your employees here. So it not just talks about your employees' performance, but also about their innate potential as well. So as you see here under the rough diamond category, you have employees who are not just keeping their performance low key, but they actually have high potential. They need a little nudge on their back. And not just that, consistent stars who actually have high potential and they're actually doing well as well. And other need categories. So you clearly know where your employees are standing in terms of growth and development and performance. And you can do necessary actions when you get clear insight from reports as such. So all of these that I just showed you, and there's more to this, we have certain in-house integrations to intuitively measure your employees' performance, and not just that, to see your employees grow throughout the process. So starting with onboarding, even while you set up onboarding flow for new joinees in your organization, since they are new joinees, it is wise to tell them of their goals or what is expected of them, their key responsibilities. So, right from day one, as part of their onboarding flow, you can add their goals or KRAs here, powering productivity right from day one. And also, this is integrated with the learning management system. So as a manager or an administrator, you'll get to access your reportees' skill set information here. And when you find out that a particular employee is lagging behind in a particular skill set, you can go ahead and suggest a course for them that can help them with the particular skill set. So bridging skill set gaps and seeing your employees grow is this simple with an integration like this. And not just that, the jobs, your timesheets, and your work items that your employees are working on, you can post your jobs alongside goals so that you can see it through completion. And also, work completion can be considered while you calculate or your employees' performance and add it as part of appraisals as well. So with this, we come to the end of the webinar. Now let's do a quick recap. So I've added the entire process as a recap here so that it will be easy for you to get started with your appraisal cycle. So what you need to do is start your appraisal cycle with the name and the evaluation period, set the applicability if it's going to be location bound or for specific designations departments alone, and you need to pick your evaluation metrics and add it as part of the appraisal cycle. So once this is done, if self-appraisal is enabled, your employees, they need to act as part of the self-appraisal process. And then comes multi-rater feedback. So multiple managers, if they are added as part of the appraisal cycle, they'll be appraising the employees. And this will go out for review under different reviewers based on the level that you've set. And finally, if you would like to reward your employees with a hike as part of the appraisal, salary hike, and the last process is normalization. And once all of this is done, you can publish your appraisal results to your employees. So once appraisals are over, if your employees are not satisfied with the ratings and reviews that they've got, they can they can choose to review it one more time. They can share their feedback, and you can extend the review process based on requirements, based on need of the hour, and you can publish the revised or the supervised results to your employees. So this is the entire flow of Zoho People's performance management system. And I really hope that this recap will help you create your appraisal cycles. So with all of these that I just showed you, with evaluation metrics that allow growth, that spell accuracy, and a process that encourages consistency, a process that is continuous with feedback systems, to with even 360-degree feedbacks to getting employee review feedbacks, you are letting your employees grow where they are planted with a performance tool as such. So let your performance process be consistent and continuous. And I hope you put Zoho People's performance management system to the best use as well. For further queries, please feel free to write to support@zohopeople.com and we are happy to assist you. And also for more information, please visit zoho.com/people. Thank you so much.
Audio Jungle.